Welcome to my Growing Dahlias class here in my garden. This is very exciting for me because there's nothing I love more than growing. But the other reason is because I really want to inspire you to grow your own flowers. Dahlias are very forgiving and very easy to grow, and I'm going to guide you step by step of how to grow them. Most of the dahlias that we grow here are grown from tubers. You can grow dahlias from seeds or from tubers. And I grow them as annuals. That means that when the season is over, I dig them out and I store them for the next season. When you buy your dahlias, you can receive single tubers or a clump of tubers. So I'm going to show you. I have saved for you examples of different tubers that you can receive. So all these are tubers. As you can see, they look like a weird shaped sweet potato thing. And some of them can be very thin and long. Some of them can be a little bit fatter. Some of them are very roundy and fat. And some of them can be very, very tiny. But all of the tubers have three parts that I want to show you. Tubers have a body that should feel firm. Sometimes can get a little bit dehydrated. So for example, this tuber feels a little bit dehydrated. So as you can see, it has these kind of wrinkles. But it's fine, it feels firm. And sometimes it can get a little bit moldy. So for example, I think I have one here that feels a little bit soft, almost like if it's getting rotten, but it's not. But in general, a tuber should feel firm. So this is the body. Then you have the neck. That is the part that joins the body with the crown. And the most important part of a tuber, all of them are important, but is the crown, where the little eyes are. Eyes are these little knots that you can see here, and this is where the stem will grow from, okay? So when you receive your tubers, you won't see all the time your tubers sprouting like this one. This is already growing. So you might receive something that looks like this, but you have to know that this little round here that you see here is the eye, and this is where the stem will grow from. So when you're going to plant your tubers, you're going to plant them, if they're single, you're going to plant them horizontally like this. That means lying down in the bed like this, okay? But if you receive a clump of tubers, you will plant them like this, okay? So, and the previous stem is gonna guide you, sometimes you have, this is the previous stem of my dahlia from last year. So if this had different tubers, you will plant them like this with the previous stem looking up. One of the mistakes we usually make when we are growing dahlias is to plant them too deep. So you're going to plant your dahlias only 10 to 15 centimeters deep, and you're not going to water them when you plant them. But we're going to go and talk about that in a little bit. You have to plant your dahlias in a full sun bed with soil that is rich in organic matter. Soil that drains really, really, really well. The type of soil that I have in this garden is like clay, so it can get really, really, really hard. And when I started growing my dahlias, I wasn't amending the soil so much, so I had so many tubers getting rotten because it gets really, really hard. So really, you have to amend the soil, and it has to drain the water perfectly fine. The best way to plant them, and I'm not saying that I follow that rule all the time, because sometimes I'm a little bit greedy and I want to plant more dahlias than can I actually fit in my garden. But the rule is that you should have your bed of maybe 1 meter, 1.20 meters, and you will plant them every 30 centimeters. So you will dig your hole, we'll see that later, and you will make the hole for your dahlia 10, 15 centimeters deep, and then every 30 centimeters you will plant one of these tubers. You will not water them, and I know it feels so counterintuitive, because the truth is that every time we grow something, we want to water it. But I can't tell you how many tubers I have rotten, just watering them, just feeling this thing that I need to water them, but at the end, they end up being rotten. As you saw in the tour, We grow here in self-contained raised beds, and the reason is we have here 5 months of really, really heavy rain. And we grow everything under wooden structure to protect our flowers from the rain. So I grow my dahlias like that. And we have to support them because dahlias have a relative shallow root system. So when they start growing, some of them can even grow 2 meters high, and you really have to support them. So you also saw in the tour that we have some kind of netting support that we do for each one of our dahlias so that when they grow, they have this type of support. One of the things that I think every time when people ask me, why do I bother about growing my own dahlias? And I think the answer is very easy. Dahlias are one of these flowers that really don't ship well, and not all the florists have the lucky of having a flower market that will provide or supply dahlias from a local grower. Some florists really have to order their flowers by mail, so they will ship and they will arrive with the petals very bruised, sometimes really damaged. And so it's totally worth just trying to grow them. And dahlias are so forgiving that they grow well in a raised bed, or they grow in a pot, or they can even grow in your balcony if you don't have a lot of space. I'm going to show you how to grow them in pots because they also grow amazing in pots. But let's have a look at this variety. This is a dinner plate variety. And if you try to put this in a box and ship it, it will arrive terrible. So usually florists get really frustrated because when they order dahlias for an event, first of all, they have to order at least 25% more in order to cover the flowers that will get damaged. But the other reason is that you can never really rely on the fact that they will arrive great. So as a florist, if you can grow your own dahlias, you won't have that problem. And dahlias are this amazing summer flower that everybody gets wow. Believe me, people see the arrangements and people just love them, variety of colors and shapes. I mean, I just love them, and I think they are the easiest flower to grow, and they are incredibly forgiving. I have made a lot of mistakes, and the truth is that I don't presume to be a professional grower or a farmer. I just have a garden, I grow my dahlias, and growing is not something that you learn in one season or two. I'm pretty sure that growing is something that you learn all your life. So I still make mistakes when I try to grow them, but these classes is not about me sharing a perfect garden or the perfect crop. It's about me sharing with you my passion and trying to convince you that the best thing that you can do is try to grow your own flowers. So let's go back when you start growing them. So after you have made the holes, you have placed your tubers, ideally you will have a dripping irrigation system. And at the beginning, I didn't understand how important is that, but really all flowers benefit from having that way of irrigating them. So when it comes to dahlias, there are so many varieties. There are so many breeders doing every year beautiful colors and different shapes. And I mean, I'm pretty sure you will lose track of everything out there, but some of my favorite comes from Flores, the Flower Hat, Santa Cruz Dahlias. You should see her YouTube channel, it's just amazing. And also, I like Swan Dahlias. So I got all these tubers, and the amazing thing about tubers is that sometimes you just have to buy one, and the next year they will multiply. So next year you won't have one plant, but you have several plants. If you're just starting your garden, let's say, and you don't have a lot of budget, and you want to buy, or maybe you can just afford to buy a few tubers, know that you can propagate your tubers from the first year. So that's why I left this example here. And I don't do that because I really don't have space to put any more dahlias. But if I wanted to propagate this tuber from the first year, what I will do is take cuttings. And that means that you will put them in a tray with soil and you will let them sprout. Once you have the stems growing, you will leave one, but you will cut the others, and you will cut them with a sharp knife, taking a little piece of the tuber with you. You will put them in individual pots, allow them to develop roots, and then you will have another plant that same year. As I'm telling you, I don't do that because I don't have enough space to do that, but that's a way you could they start having more plants at the beginning if you don't have a lot of money to buy many tubers, because they can be expensive. If you want to know more about how to propagate your dahlias from cuttings, you have to see Kristen from Santa Cruz. She has amazing videos and you can really watch what she's doing there. One thing that is really important for me is just not to buy dahlias. I really want to have a color palette that I love in my garden and that is important for me to have in my designs. So every year I try to have more dahlias of the colors that I really love, and sometimes you buy them in the website and the truth is that they look one color and they end up being a little bit different, you know? So, but the truth is that I like to guide myself more than the shape or anything. I guide myself through color. I want to have dahlias that bloom in specific shades of color. So in terms of varieties, I love pom-pom dahlias. All the flowers that you see here are just starting to bloom. So I have few examples for you of each of the varieties that we have in this garden. My very, very, very favorite one are pom-pom dahlias, are these tiny dahlias that they are incredible and they have this beautiful texture, but also is that they last a lot in a vase. So they are very beautiful to use. You have dinner plates, and people goes wow with dinner plates, but they are not really my favorite. I love pom-poms because I love medium flowers. But here is a dinner plate. As you can see, this is the most famous café au lait. Everybody loves café au lait, and I love them, and I think they're beautiful. And as the season starts going, café au lait start opening their heart, and you can see more of the center, and they start getting smaller. So sometimes what we do in this garden, that I don't know if it's something that professional growers would do, is that we let them bloom once and then we cut them down. And the second bloom will be smaller. And that's because I like to have smaller flowers for my arrangements. And also, they will not be huge and big, but they will have also single petals, which is something that I really love. I love when dahlias are having this just like open heart, curly center, and with single petals. For me, that's the most beautiful stage, and I just love waiting for them to be like that. Some of the dahlias that we have here are dinner plates, pom-poms, cactus dahlias, semi-cactus dahlias, anemone dahlias, colored dahlias. All of these are just different shapes, but the flower is the same, and you have to grow them in exactly the same way. So when it comes to harvesting, that's one thing that I really like about not being a professional grower, because the truth is that I don't have the pressure of having to deliver flowers to the market in a specific size or moment that they're blooming. I can't just cut my dahlias as I need them. But one rule that is very important is that you don't cut your dahlias and try to use them straight away. You have to cut them and let them hydrate at least 12 hours before you use them. Otherwise, they will just get a little bit wilty and maybe just faint a little bit. So the ideal moment of harvesting them is in the afternoon, and use them the day after for your events. I would like to encourage you that when you start growing your dahlias or your garden, you take away from your garden or from whatever you're growing the pressure of becoming a business. Just grow for yourself. Grow for you to become a better designer, because when you grow your own flowers, you really become a better designer. You see color different, shape different, movement different, and you get to see the flower in all the stages. So you get to see how the tones of the petals change and how each variety ages different, and I just love seeing that. So from the moment you grow your tubers, it will take 3 months for you to start looking at them bloom. And I don't plant all my dahlias at the same time. I try to plant some at the beginning of April. I could start planting them at the end of March because I won't have frost anymore in the garden. And then I will plant the next group of dahlias 3 weeks after and 3 weeks after. And that way I can have a very long season of dahlias. Here, I have to dig my dahlias out around November, but the reason is not because it's coming any frost or because it's getting cold. I actually maybe could leave them in the ground, but because this is a very small space garden, I need the space to grow my ranunculus, that is the next flower that is coming after my dahlias. So I dig them out. When you dig them out, you have to be very careful. You will arrive with a fork into the ground and try to shake them carefully so that you don't break the tubers when you are digging them out. So when you dig them out, some people separate them and put them in boxes for the next year, but I don't separate them when I dig them out. I wait for spring because that way I can see where the eyes are going to develop. And dividing my dahlias is something that has always scared me a little bit. So when your dahlias are being digged out, I'm going to pretend, or let's think this one have different tubers here. So the first thing that you will do is that you will cut where the main stem is into half. And then you will keep going and going until you get individual tubers. If you are not 100% sure where to divide, I would recommend them to just leave them like that. So sometimes I leave 2 tubers because I didn't know exactly where to divide them. And I was a little bit scared of damaging both, okay? When you store your dahlias or your tubers, that's one of the most important things because you can lose your dahlias in the months that they will be stored. If it's too humid, they will get moldy and rotten. And if it's too dry, they will get dehydrated. So you really have to make sure that the levels of humidity are right wherever you're going to put your dahlias in store. A lot of people uses wood chips to store them. So you clean them, you dig them out, you wash them, you let them dry a little bit. I usually leave them in the sun, and then I put them in peat moss. For me, peat moss works really great. And I haven't gotten any tuber rotten, but I don't think we have radical cold or weather is more mild. So I really don't have any problem storing my dahlias. So you have to make sure that when you put them in boxes and when you store them, they are fine for the moments that they will be sleeping. And just go every now and then and check them. And if they are getting dehydrated, you can spray the peat moss or the wood chips. And if they are getting moldy, maybe you can take them out and give them some air so that they don't produce any more mold. And always clean everything or any single sign of mold inside your boxes. So when springtime comes, I'm ready to divide them and put them in the ground. One of the big mistakes I've made over the past years, and I'm going to say that when I started planting dahlias, I just wanted to have an explosion of color in my garden. And I didn't label them. I didn't thought it was important. I just planted my dahlias. I was just like dividing them and putting them in the ground again. But the truth is that you have dahlias that are early bloomers and dahlias that are late bloomers. And some of them can grow really tall and big, and some of them can grow smaller and more bushier. And I've made the mistakes of having really long dahlias next to one that is a little bit smaller, and then it's shadowing them. And because here we have a lot of humidity, and my main problem is powdery mildew, that creates more powdery mildew in the smaller one. There's not enough air circulating between them, and then causes for me to have more problems with that. You don't have to grow your flowers in blocks of colors, or you don't have to grow your dahlias just one variety in one row. You can grow them mixed, and they grow in gardens incredibly beautiful, they're mixed. But just know who are you putting next to each one so that they grow at the same space, at the same time, and they just grow well together. Now what we're gonna do is we are going to go to the garden and we're gonna see how we grow them. We have prepared for you the spacing, the holes, the netting, so that you can see how to put them in the ground. Also, you're gonna see how we do the pinching to encourage more branching in your dahlias. And I'm gonna share with you step by step how to do it. As you can see, we have prepared our bed, made the holes every 30 centimeters, and before I place them in the ground, I always like to pre-sprout my tubers. The space in a small garden is very precious, so you really want to make sure that everything that you put in the ground has really good chances of thriving. So as you can see, this one has already 2 stems growing, and it's really exciting to see all of them having really good chances to give me really pretty flowers. One of the things that I want you to notice, and it's a mistake, but I don't want you to do it, is I didn't label my dahlias last year. So I don't know what I'm gonna get, and that's a mistake. But next year, I'm gonna do it because I wanna make sure that all the dahlias that I'm growing here are growing in the right place. So I'm gonna cover them. And after, I'm gonna add the irrigation system. Remember, don't water them. Here, the levels of humidity are very high, and even if we haven't watered this soil, it feels already a little bit humid. So make sure that you know what type of weather you have, what type of humidity levels you have, and then you will decide if you need to water them or not. So. As you can see, I haven't done a supporting system just yet here. So I want to show you something. If you don't want to do a supporting system like the one I'm going to show you later, you could just put a stick here close to your tuber. So when it starts growing, you can tie this dahlia to the stick. So that will be the support of this dahlia. I always like to wish them good luck when I plant them. Few more. As you can see, we have this wooden structure to protect our dahlias from the rain too. The rain will start in about 4 weeks' time from now. And I tried growing my dahlias before without a roof, and it was just impossible. One afternoon of rain can be just enough to destroy all my plants. It's too much water. And the last one. And then I'm gonna place the system. It's gonna have 3 sources of water all the way down to the end of my bed. Then I will do the second and the third one. You don't have to see that. So as you can see, these dahlias have been growing for 3 months already. Some of them are about to bloom. But I left one for you to see what pinching means. So when your dahlia grows, it has a main stem, and what you want to do is to encourage the plant to give you some more branches. So the way to do it is you have to cut this main stem here. Otherwise, you will only have one really big stem with a big flower, and you don't want that. You want to have a plant that has different branches and that gives you many blooms. So I'm going to show you how we're going to pinch this plant, and it feels a little bit weird to cut them, especially when they are about to bloom, but it's important for you to do it so that you have different branches. I'm going to cut it, okay? And that's it. Okay? Another thing that you have to do is when your flowers are about to bloom, dahlias usually give you 3 shots. So what you want to do is you want to cut the side shoots to allow all the energy of the plant to focus on this main flower. So I'm going to cut these 2. I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut this one. Actually, this one had 4. And this one. And by doing that, I'm allowing all the energy to focus on this flower. I don't usually do it because I like small flowers. And what will happen when you don't do that is that usually these side shoots will grow taller, but smaller than the main one. And the main one will stay quite short. So I like small, medium flowers, so I don't do it just because I prefer to design with smaller flowers. When we talk about the netting, as you can see, this is the netting we have done. We have allowed 30 centimeters per plant, but to be very honest, next year I'm just gonna plant 2. I'm paying the price for being a little bit greedy and wanting to have 3 dahlias close together, because I can already see that I have some powdery mildew issues in my dahlias. So I will have to pay the price, and probably I will have to remove the lower leaves to allow more air circulating between my dahlias. So now you have seen that growing dahlias is not difficult. It's actually very easy. And how amazing is to have all these colors and all these varieties blooming in your garden. I think it's totally worth it. I mean, you won't regret trying to grow them. One of the last things that I'm going to share with you before we finish this class is that you can grow dahlias anywhere. I mean, seriously, this garden is pretty small, as you have seen, but you can grow dahlias in a patio, in pots, or even you could grow them in a balcony, in pots. So how to grow dahlias in pots is very easy. It's the same process. They just need more pampering. They just need more care. So you will put your tuber in your pot. Just make sure that it's at least a 30-gallon pot, and you will allow it to grow, and you will pamper it more, take care of it more, fertilize it more. In this area, it's very difficult to find organic fertilizers, and the truth is that I don't fertilize my dahlias as much as I should. In places where you can find organic fertilizers, you should fertilize them and feed them a little bit more. But I rather keep my garden clean and without any chemicals. So I think they're happy anyway, and we add a lot of humus and then they just grow fine. The only thing I can add to this class is that you have to give them a try. You really have to, because as a florist, if you have these flowers blooming in your garden, you can make incredibly beautiful summer arrangements. They have texture, they have color, they have different types of shapes, and they just grow incredibly easy. So just give them a try, because they are very easy and there's no better class than just going and doing it. Thank you so much for watching.